Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. So I want to talk to you guys about video RAM and essentially a way to find out how much RAM you're using. So as you move forward and you purchase a new video card, you have an idea if you could benefit from additional memory or if you're fine staying around wherever you're at now. Right now, the mainstream is right around 8 gigs. We've got 10 gigs coming on the 3080. Rumor of a 20 gig card coming as well. And of course, 24 on the 3090. So let me show you how to tell where you're at right now. Let's hop in and check it out. Alright guys, so we're going to be taking a look at two different games tonight. We're going to look at World of Warcraft because of how stylized it is, and then we're going to be taking a look at Modern Warfare because of how photorealistic it is. When looking at how much VRAM you're using, it's usually influenced most heavily by a couple different things. One of the biggest is the resolution of the game that you're running. So, you know, if you're running 1080p, 1440p, 4K. And then the, texture settings. The higher the texture settings, the more VRAM you're going to use. Things like ambient occlusion. Obviously, RTX takes a hit to your VRAM. But what you really want to do is see where you're at and see how much you're using and see if you're near your cap so you know the next time you go to buy a video card if you should get one that has more memory than you currently do. For reference, I am currently playing in 1440p, and I'm using a RTX 2080 with 8 gigs of VRAM. So the first way to do it, first way to check, is to right-click on your taskbar, open up your task manager, which will bring you this, and then from there, click on the Performance tab, and then select the GPU down here at the bottom, and it'll tell you dedicated GPU memory. So right now, I'm using about 5 of my 8 gigs. There is a overall GPU memory as well as shared, so you can get an idea of like what's going on there. Essentially, Windows will allocate additional system RAM for GPU usage, but if you have a dedicated card, typically, you just want to take a look at this dedicated to see where you're at, right? And so again, I'm at 5 out of 8. And this is in World of Warcraft. Now, if I look at it via MSI Afterburner, you can see here on the top of the screen, it's currently coming in at 5.2 to 5.3. And again, Task Manager has a few different ways that it will measure your VRAM usage. As MSI, we'll take a look at some of the other ways as well. But between the two of them, they should give you a pretty good ballpark about where you're coming in at in terms of VRAM usage. So I'm going to go to a different area of World of Warcraft, and we're going to see if my VRAM usage changes at all. Alright, so I hopped over to one of the cities in the new expansion. We see a very, very slight increase in VRAM. I was just outside of Old Dalaran, which for those who don't know, that's one of the cities in one of the old expansions. And now this is one of the cities in the new one. I'm at 5.4 according to MSI Afterburner. If we take a look at here, I'm at 5.1. So again, not a whole lot of difference. But the reason I want to bring this up is because in certain games, the location at which you are playing will have a very big impact as well on the amount of VRAM you're using. So let's hop over to Modern Warfare and let's take a look at what the game is using over there. Alright, so here we are in Pine. This is one of the very small maps that is in Modern Warfare. I wanted to start here because typically when you get to bigger, wider, more open environments, usage does go up. We can see here that I'm using, according to MSI, on the GPU, about 6.7 gigs of VRAM. If we hop over to Task Manager, we're seeing 6.3 out of 8. So we're definitely up there. We're seeing much more usage than we would, obviously, in World of Warcraft. And this comes down to things like texture resolution and a lot of the photorealism that they're kind of using in the game. So we're going to hop out of this and we're going to hop into a much larger map and we're going to see how much this gets impacted. All right, guys, and here we are in our final test. This is definitely one of Call of Duty's larger maps, if you will. Sans Warzone, of course. But we are at 7.8 gigs of VRAM. Fun fact is there used to actually be a bug in between this and the NVIDIA encoder, where if you capped out your VRAM, your stream would crash because the game would take all the resources it could, and the video card was left with nothing to encode. And I should add that as a caveat. My VRAM usage is slightly higher because I am encoding on the NVIDIA encoder. And so just keep that in mind with my usage. Your usage and mileage may vary. According to Windows Task Manager, we are at 7.5 gigs out of 8 for my VRAM usage on this map in Call of Duty. Again, 1440p. Everything is maxed out in terms of graphical settings, and so I am consuming as much as I possibly could when it comes to this example. So be sure to check the games that you're playing, the maps that you are playing on, if you know, whether it's Apex or Tarkov, Warzone, whatever it may be, right? You always want to try to load into the worst case scenario to check your peak usage, and do that on the largest maps that they have, or the most recent and updated ones, because typically those will have higher resolution textures, which will use more video RAM. Alright guys, and that's it. So moving forward, now you know how to check how much VRAM you're using, so you know what to consider the next time you go out and buy a new video card. One other thing I did want to mention was the big question is, well, what happens if I run out of VRAM? You know, does the game just crash? Like, you know, what goes on? So typically what will happen is when the video card has no more memory available, the GPU will start to rely on system RAM in order to kind of backfill and alleviate some of the stress. Now, when this happens, system RAM is considerably slower than the integrated VRAM on your video card, and this can lead to you know, significant frame rate loss and a huge performance impact. So if you are hitting your VRAM cap constantly and you're just like absolutely railing your card, you can always turn down your resolution, you can turn down your textures, and that'll give some of that back and free up some resources. But at least now you know how to go in, you can check your games, you can see how much you're using, and the next time you buy a video card, you can be more informed. So until next time, dudes, as always, catch me live at twitch.tv/Cardo. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, stay humble. Peace out.